2 more deadly disasters to go. If you're not depressed enough now, you will be. The tax man is coming to get you. People, unfortunately, are naive, and let's call them optimistic. They're optimists. They're concentrating on their business. That's what they really, really care about, and they forget about some of the basics. You know, you need some help. You'll need some help from an accountant, somebody who's financially savvy, a bookkeeper, someone who's been through this process before. Particular scenario I remember, there's some very clever guys, a couple of lads had a business, they did really, really well, got lots and lots of business. They forgot to account for VAT, and they went over the VAT threshold. I think it was about 60,000, it's 83,000 now. So they carried on trading, they weren't raising any VAT invoices, and eventually the tax man caught up with them. VAT, you know, was VAT. Then it was 17.5%, now it's 20%. So you imagine that you've invoiced everybody, you've collected all this money, and you're all of a sudden 20% short. And the VAT says, you owe me for whatever 20% of their turnover was. Of course, they haven't got it. They can't go back to the customers because they didn't charge it. Hadn't registered, disaster, implosion, out of business. And with the VAT, it happens very, very quickly, I can assure you.
Just only one thing is that, for instance, you may collect the VAT.
Yep.
And
we need to be registered for VAT first.
You have to register for the VAT before you can collect it.
Yeah, you have to be registered for VAT so you can raise a VAT invoice. You can have a VAT number on it. Yeah.
So, okay, so because in that case, even if you don't hit the target of 83,000, you have to pay the VAT to the Batman.
If you register.
If you register.
You don't have to register unless you hit the threshold.
Yeah.
But in that
you
case,
might do.
Yeah.
But did you still charge it?
Yes.
No,
So-
if you don't
so-
register, you can't charge.
You can't charge it
you
now.
can't charge if
But
you're
you
not
don't
registered.
have to go above the threshold to register. You can register even though the turnover is below the threshold.
I mean, it's an attraction, of course, because you're 20% cheaper than your rivals. When you're starting out, you might say, well, I'm not going to register until my business gets going. Certainly, you know, consultants or...
What I was trying to clarify is that if you register and you're a starter and you decide not to charge
You have to charge.
until you hit the...
No, you've got to charge once you register.
Once you register,
must charge.
So you have to charge, mandatory.
Yep.
It's mandatory
Yep.
if you
Yep.
register.
There are
Doesn't matter
different...
if you- It doesn't matter if you don't hit the target.
No, it doesn't. I was going to mention there are a couple of some schemes that you can do. You know, talk to your accountant, think about it with them, because there is a fixed scheme where you can, or a cash scheme. Cash scheme is the other one, because larger businesses have to pay on invoice. So you collect the VAT for a quarter, even if the customer hasn't paid you. So you're kind of funding the VAT. I mean, we do it. It's all on invoices. The clients, if you invoice a large invoice at the end of a quarter, you might have to wait 2 or 3 months to get the VAT in, but you've got to pay it to HMRC. But you can have a cash scheme, as you said, a cash scheme where you're just paying on the cash, which is, so you can do that. It's quite a complicated area, but do not make the mistake. And the other anecdote I had was in a consultancy area. This was to do with training and websites and corporate training, where you have a lot of subbies, subcontractors. So you might have the contract, you might need somebody to do the design, somebody to do the website, somebody to do some training. And of course your turnover is being elevated all the time by the work that is being done by your subcontractors. So you're hitting the VAT threshold more quickly, and they didn't think of that because they were just thinking, well, I'm only getting 40 grand. But my business as a whole, the turnover's gone up because I'm invoicing all these people. So don't get caught out by that one. And some horrible statistics, there we are. 7% of tax inspections are triggered at random. They're not completely random because they do run systems and processes to identify particular anomalies. So if you're a taxi company, they'll have some idea what taxi companies pay. And if you're outside the parameters of their models, then they'll be onto you. So it's not completely random, but it can be. And they've got all sorts of horrible powers. I can send you these slides later.
Okay. Cheers, thanks.
Ignorance is no defense, VAT. As your businesses grow, you may want share options. Share options is another big issue. You might want to incentivise your valued staff. Best to do it in a revenue-approved share scheme. Again, a bit of a complicated area. I'll just mention it in case you're growing quickly and you want to give shares to staff. If you don't do it right, it can be treated as pay, and then you're supposed to pay PAYE, which is a disaster for your share scheme.